We live.
What's the chat? I want to be able to talk to my grandfather when he chats.
Oh. Did you set up the title and everything?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. I'm gonna set up the chat.
Okay. I'm going to pull up YouTube and see if we're actually live and if I set it up correctly. Oh, it is live. Yes, it says FLRRBRMVR. Yeah, we titled the stream FLRRBRMVR. FLRRBR and MVR, but it's one word. Anyway.
I'm back, and chat is now there. Notably empty.
Notably empty. Crazy band.
Notably empty?
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
It's just an album of silence.
Oh. Now that's creative, because no one's done that before.
Yeah. Did you hear about that new album released by... It was an album of nearly complete silence released by some dude in the UK because the UK is changing their AI copyright laws.
I think so.
About music?
I think so. And I did also hear about, this is a little while ago, but there was a dude that just filmed paint drying for 16 hours.
Oh, that was... Yeah.
And made, the British Film Board review it. And they said that
I remember
they
that.
said that they enjoyed it.
Yeah, because all films in the UK need to get reviewed for ratings.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 16 hours or something of paint drying.
Yeah.
What would have been crazy is something really vulgar at the end. Just so it get
Did they catch it?
Did they
hour
catch it?
8, minute 16.
All
right, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, I'll do the thing. Hello and welcome to your weekly dose of Mayhem. The show where the episodes keep getting better, but the titles keep getting worse. So for those of you who were ignoring me when I was talking to Mr. Hiller, who's over there on the beanbag, the title of this episode is FLRRBRMVR.
You're pronouncing it worse and worse each time.
FLRRBRMVR.
FLRRBRMVR. FLRRBRMVR.
FLRRBRMVR?
That sounds like a really weird way to say, people mover. I don't know.
People mover.
People mover.
Now, there's actually three-letter acronyms in there, creating one 9-letter word.
It is a 3-letter acronym of 3-letter acronyms.
And it is the Finger Lakes Regional, that's the FLR.
Uh-huh.
Rust Belt Robotics, we'll get to it, that's the
RBR.
The RBR. And then the Miami Valley Regional, that's the MERV.
He keeps saying MERV. It is clearly mover.
It's MERV, dude.
MRV?
Yeah, MERV.
Miami Regional Valley?
No, MERV.
Right? It's mover.
Fine, maybe you're right. I concede. I'm just pulling up all the blue line stuff because I forgot to pull up MERV.
This is how you cope with not pronouncing something correctly. I'm going to pull up everything on blue.
I'm going to pull up everything on blue. I want to shout out a team real quick, and I'm forgetting their number. But a team in the New England, what is it? 6228? Yeah, Mechanical Advantage. I'm not shouting out Mechanical Advantage, though I do enjoy Mechanical Advantage. Shout out Mechanical Advantage. I'd like to
famous for their scope.
I'd like to shout out Team 9443, the Aluminum Panthers, mentored by a former mentor of our team who won the Granite State District event in beautiful New England with Mechanical Advantage and Wyndham Windup, which is a crazy alliance.
Yeah.
I watched one of the finals matches for that, and it was pretty cool. Mechanical Advantage's robot is very cool. Big defense match, that finals match, too.
What is Advantage's bot this year?
It's actually pretty simple. It's very OP-esque in how simple it is. Mm-hmm. That's a Brady quote for the folks at home. It's just an elevator that's angled, not even that much. I think it's only 110 degrees measuring from horizontal, angled back, and it's just a pass-through core thing. So you drop the core. They kind of have an intake similar to 340s, where it's the intake is on the ground and it's big V, and you just grab that, and it passes through the elevator and just.
Interesting.
And they got a core manipulator, an algae manipulator. That's also the outtake. It's really cool. Some of the teams that have the core manipulator that looks like this, and then another wheel up here for the algae, I really like those.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder why I didn't do that. Anyway, let's talk. Speaking of 340, the congratulations to 340, the Second Alliance captain, for their win at the FLR.
The Finger Regional Lakes.
Finger Lakes Regional. They had a really cool robot. They had a super cool intake that, like, they had the intake that had, like, went like this, and then an outtake where it was 2 wheels here, but then, like, it would grab from the intake on this side, and then it would go up the elevator and spin around super fast. It was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they won. What was the final record at FLR? I don't remember. They went 11-4 over the whole day, but I think they lost. I think 3 of those losses were in quals, and we beat. When they were in first place, we beat them and knocked them down to third, which was really fun. That was, well, once I actually write the build thread or post the build thread about FLR, that'll all be in there.
Which will be post MVR?
Yes, I was going to write a build thread post FLR and then another one pre MVR, but then I was like, I'm just going to combine the post MVR and FLR build thread into one build thread, just as like a post regional events one, and then I'm just going to do a pre MVR one probably Tuesday. But FLR was an interesting event. It was about a standard FLR for us, where we kind of just lose over and over and over again. But for different reasons this year.
Yeah, notably for the past like couple of years, 2 or 3, yeah, we've been losing because of mechanical and electrical issues.
Mechanical disadvantages.
That's such a bad joke. Notably, last year we had like a whole bunch of CAN issues, which we've worked on fixing. The new robot this year has 2 CAN buses instead of 1, and we're actually using Canivore USB to CAN bridge, and we are using an actual physical bus topology, which means we have 1 loop of wire, which is the actual CAN bus, and then a whole bunch of like taps through the wire that connect to individual devices, instead of 1 wire going from a device to another, like daisy chaining them, which is the intended way to do it, and it is working.
The analogy I like to use is, imagine you have a highway, and the highway is the CAN bus, but then you have exits on the highway that go to roads, and that is the CAN branching off the highway to go to the individual devices.
Such an auto-pilled explanation.
So imagine you have a express train.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So what were some of the main issues we had at FLRR?
Biggest issue by far was the programming team has developed a system for basically aligning to different sides of the reef, even when you can't really see them. So the process for that is the driver backs away from the reef with a camera pointed towards the April tag that is on that side of the reef. The robot uses that April tag to localize itself, and then the driver still presses a button for either left or right on that reef, or on that side of the reef, and then the robot automatically goes to that side of the reef and has to align the coral outtake to the like piece of the reef that is dropping on either L2 or L3. And after that, the operator can move the elevator up to which level it wants to place on.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Yes. At FLR, a number of changes to both, or a number of issues with vision and odometry caused that system to work horribly unreliably. Sometimes we would, most of the time it was just a misalignment along the reef wall. So we would shoot too far right, too far left, or in the center. Sometimes we would salvage that by scoring an L1, but still not the intended behavior. Also, sometimes the drivetrain got like misaligned and didn't like fully push up against the wall. Sometimes reef. It was just behind the wall. I'm pretty sure that happened a couple of times. Yeah. Basically, unpredictable behavior from the auto aligning and like lineup routines that the robot had. So,
which was super annoying because we were averaging like 10 to 11 cycles a match, and we'd only actually get 3 core on the reef.
Yeah.
Which is super annoying.
But during and after, hello Brady.
Hi, Brady.
During and after FLR, we made some significant changes to vision and odometry, notably tuning the odometry, making sure the wheels were straight.
That was a big one.
Yeah. Normally, if the wheels aren't straight on something, the driver notices. But Brady, here, get over here.
Come here, Brady.
Get over here. Tell him about how you just correct for that stuff in your head.
So it drives straight.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
The wheels weren't straight. Oh, it kind of
Yeah, then you
did.
just like move your thumb a little bit to the left. It's not that hard.
He's explaining the mental gymnastics.
Brady has been driving for like 3 years, and he just auto-corrects for these things in his brain, and he doesn't even know he's doing it. So he doesn't even know.
Very good skill. Very good skill.
Very
But-
useful.
But not good for like indicating.
Yeah, not good
things
for
are
when we're
wrong.
trying to debug it
Yeah.
on the practice field.
He's just like, oh no, I can manage. Like, but the auto align can't.
There was a the white bot last year also had a plague of not driving straight, especially because not all the wheels would be in contact with the ground, and you would watch a match and it's like, oh wow, it's driving really well, and then
You
Brady-
try and drive it.
and then you bring it back to the lab after Penfield, and you drive it and it's going like, and everyone's like, Brady, how did you not notice it? And he's like, no, I did. I just didn't tell anyone.
It was fine.
It was fine.
fine. Listen, I mean, if it works, it works. So that was one thing, was just wheel alignment, and then odometry tuning, just making sure that 1 meter actually feels like 1 meter to the robot. Because one of the big things was after the robot localizes with vision, when it doesn't have any vision targets to localize to, it uses the wheels and how far they're rotating to get a position. And when we looked at like the logs from a whole bunch of those matches that we played at FLR, it was
for the matches we had logs for.
yeah,
Because
it
we
was-
didn't have logs for other matches either, which also was a problem.
yeah, because the USB stick that was in the Robo Rio had what was it, logs from when was
like
it?
2022.
Yeah.
Like just not wiped
Yeah.
from it. So it was like at max
It was
storage.
full and there was no logs being written to it. But once we cleared it and we got logs, we looked at them and we noticed that when it had a vision target, it was like spot on, obviously. But when it lost the vision target and then moved to like from the reef to like the human player, it on the visualization it looked like it was going through the human player out of the field.
Bro had no idea where
Yeah.
he was.
So that was a pretty big indication that the odometry wasn't tuned. Also made some vision changes, notably making sure that the robot knew where its cameras were.
Getting more hits off the tags, because
Yeah.
that was another issue.
Adjusting for any, mounting issues on the cameras by just putting in those offsets, basically.
Yeah.
And that all of those changes culminated into what I would call a pretty resounding success at
FLRRBRMVR, the second acronym in our three-letter acronym of three-letter acronyms.
I can't believe that segue actually worked, because it never segues don't work, usually.
Segways, famously invented by Dean Kamen in...
Knew you were gonna make that joke.
When were segways invented?
4.
2000. Well, I'm getting AI's telling me 2001, but Wikipedia's telling me 1999.
That is the company, Segway Inc.
Oh.
So they probably
Oh, it
were
was launched in
founded-
2001, but the first deliveries were in 2002.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dean. It doesn't actually have Dean in... Yeah, there he is.
Yep.
There he is. There's Dean.
You can't see him.
You can't see him.
You want me to zoom in on that?
Yeah, zoom in on Dean.
Okay.
You heard that knock? That's when Dean came in.
That's just the robot drivetrain.
Wait,
There it is.
there he is.
Yeah. All right, zoom back out.
So,
Oh,
Anyway.
it's so not aligned. Come on.
segue into Raspberry Robotics 424, captain of the third place alliance at FLR. We went. They have a half field at the lab, and we don't. We barely have a quarter of a field, and we just kind of have. What are you guys doing?
He's like, I don't know what he's doing
messing
with
with the
antenna.
Wi-Fi thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
We barely have a quarter of field, and we just kind of have game elements strewn about. But RBR has a half field, so we went down to their lab and we practiced on their field. We tried the auto line. We tried it on a bunch of refaces, like 5 times each, videoed it, try and figured out what the offset was, changed the constants. James programmed. I kind of just held the reef stable so that it wouldn't move when we hit it. And then we were like, all right, we're going to fill the entire reef in 3, 2, 1, go. And then we did it and missed 3 times, I think.
I don't even think it was 3 times. I think it was like
Maybe it was 2
one or-
times.
one or
We
two.
filled it twice and missed twice.
Mhm.
I think except there was the weird on 10 o'clock L3, we kept missing there, but that was because there was a weird constant thing.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it was tag
it was
20.
the tag on the field was wrong. or
Yeah, it was
something.
just warbled and weird.
So, anyway, so once we got that fixed, it looked very good, and it was super good. A lot of good drive practice in. Brady, James, and I are much more coordinated now. We are much better at call-outs
Yes.
and stuff like that.
I
We didn't-
definitely heard the signaling improve as
Yeah.
the day went on.
Unlike at FLR, I would call out a reef face, and Brady wouldn't ignore me. Except that one time he ignored me.
You gotta get like headsets. You gotta just do.
When I'm standing right there, I'm basically yelling in his ear.
Well, yeah, but if he can't hear you, you gotta get like headsets. You gotta get like a whole clear comm system going just for the field.
Because why not? Tomorrow, I'm not going, but the programs, they are going to 1507's field to run some autos. And also practice with 1507, because 1507, along with us, and 340 for that matter, are going to Merville.
I will also not be at 1507 because I will be on a plane to Boston.
Are you going to Boston?
I don't know.
You going to visit colleges?
No. I explicitly told my parents that I would not want to do that. Because the only colleges in Boston are like
MIT, Harvard.
those colleges.
Boston College.
Boston colleges.
Boston.
Boston. Okay.
You don't want to go to Northeastern with Will?
Who?
Will.
No, what?
Will Wilson.
Will he what?
Will goes to Northeastern.
Okay. Don't know.
MVR. Do you want to talk about MVR?
Yes. So, the thing about MVR is that it has not happened yet.
True.
It is.
It's also not in Miami,
Yeah, it is in Cincinnati, Ohio.
which is like the Miami of Ohio.
Yeah. It is a 6-hour ride?
6 or 7.
Yeah.
7 with stopping.
Yeah, 7-hour travel to Cincinnati. We're gonna be going there on like what, Wednesday?
Yeah,
We're gonna start. We're going to Wednesday at like in the afternoon. We're gonna go there. We're gonna get there at like 9 or 10. We're gonna sleep and
We're
then,
going to throw ourselves into a bed.
yeah, 3 days of competition. We're gonna come back on Sunday or Monday. No,
I
Sunday.
think. Yeah.
Sunday.
Sunday.
And then we're gonna have 2 days of like actually not doing anything, and then we're back to school, which is awesome.
And then we are so back.
Yes.
Notable, we are going 1507 to do some drive practice because they're going, also doing some autos. Shout out Trent Warlock. Shout out my homies in Lockport.
Shout out Ralph Waldo Emerson.
He didn't live in Lockport.
Probably. I mean, you don't know.
No, he lived in like Boston.
Oh, Boston.
And that one pond.
Think I'll
which is,
meet
like,
him when
only
I go?
10 miles outside of Boston. Woden? But no, that was Thoreau.
Yeah.
Well, Thoreau also lived in Boston.
Brady's just disapproving
Brady
of
is very
transcendentalism.
disappointed in me right now.
He hates transcendentalism, and I don't know why.
2 houses. Both are like a dignity.
He's reaching for the he's reaching for the end stream
In
button.
Fair Verona, we said as seen. Brady has taken up a habit of just quoting, specifically
The first line.
the first line of Romeo and Juliet and the other one that I'm forgetting the name of. What's the other book that you and Oscar quote? Like, you quoted it. Yeah.
By Sir Thomas Wyatt.
Oscar and him would just quote this one book they read in AP literature, like nearly every 10 minutes.
literature.
in the book.
Literature fans, when words.
Personally, I am a word I enjoy language.
I'm a language enjoyer. Shout out Mr. Patak.
Shout out 340 Greater Rochester Robotics, who's also going to MVR.
Awesome robot.
Re-
Gur
one of my
and
favorites,
424. Great aesthetics on the robot. Blacked out, good attention to detail. Some like orange highlights. Very nice. Look good and perform well also.
424 has a really cool intake-outtake system too.
Yes, they do.
Very unique with the 2 sides and the horizontal one in the middle for L1. Also, I didn't know this until we were at the lab last night. but apparently the elevator also pivots. I didn't know it could do that because it's too high at it's above starting height when it's straight up, so they bend it down.
I am just now hearing of this.
Yeah, it's super weird.
That is awesome.
It's super weird, but it's really cool. Where's 44 competing at the second round? They're going to Tech Valley. I knew that. They're
Neat.
going to Tech Valley. Anyway, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. No podcast next week. We'll be in Cincinnati.
Well,
Well,
you never know.
you never know.
We're gonna keep you on your toes for that one.
We'll be in Cincinnati. Grandpa, you'll be in Cincinnati too. Well, you're the only one who watches the show anyway, so maybe just Hamid and I will just like sit you down at lunch and just do it like one-on-one. Like cut out the middleman of the YouTube stream. Just like we could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably be too busy talking to Will.
Yeah.
If Will Rosen, I know you're not watching it, but if you are, expect a FaceTime call from Brady this weekend.
Many.
Well, next weekend.
Many. At least 2.
And the Buc-ee's, which is like 3 hours from Cincinnati.
3 hours.
We didn't go last year because we
3
didn't
hours
have time.
closer to Buffalo or 3 hours further?
No, it's 3 hours south of Cincinnati. It's in like Tennessee. You have,
It's-
to
oh.
you have to drive through the entirety of like Kentucky
Ah.
to get to it.
Oh. I think that's worth it.
I actually think it's the Buc-ee's that Sam Denby and Brian Real Engineering went to in season 2 of Jetlag. I think it's the same
they
one.
went to a Buc-ee's?
Yeah, in
Oh,
Tennessee.
they did.
Yeah, because Sam would look at the sign and go, Buc-ee's! I think it's the same one. I think that's the closest Buc-ee to Cincinnati.
We got to make a pilgrimage, folks.
So if next episode in 2 weeks, if Hamid and I are wearing Buc-ee's merch, you know where we went.
Or in a week if we're wearing Buc-ee's merch. 'Cause We're
Oh,
going to keep you on
We're
your toes.
keeping you on your toes.